It is a disciplined redirection of focus to maritime strategy, a disciplined redirection of focus to the Asia-Pacific region. That means both of those changes mean a lot for us. There'll be other allies of the United States who'd have question marks over this, but from our point of view, that's fine, and we've always accepted the view that we do look after ourselves principally, and the view that the US has that there should be burden sharing with allies has never been a problem for us.
Some cuts in the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter project are seen as inevitable, or at least further delays. What are the Americans telling you about this?
Well, one thing that the Australian Defence Minister has made very clear, and he's made it clear to the Americans, publicly and privately, and he's made it clear to the Australian people, and that is the Australian government will not permit an air capability gap to grow. They will not permit that to happen. Now, we're in the F-35 program. We're in it at particular prices, and those prices and delivery times, of course, will determine numbers. That'll be decisions for the government to make. But the Americans are very clear that as they proceed with the F-35 program, they're under close watch by the Australian government, and if at any point of time a risk develops to the capacity for Australia to be satisfied with the force in being that it has for the air defence of Australia, then the Australian government will take action.
Is there any doubt in your mind that there will be at least a delay, if not cuts, in the stealth fighter program ahead?
Well, recent announcements out of the F-35 program, and we've been briefed on them, suggests now that testing's going well. That there's been a bit of a sea change, that things that were a bit backward have now actually gone a little bit ahead of schedule. The meaning of what the President and Mr Panetta have had to say for the F-35 program is not that there won't be one, but that perhaps in the long term the numbers might change and come down a bit.
Does it have unit cost implications?
And that may have unit cost implications, and that will be a matter that the Australian government will keep them in dialogue on, because there are other options that are available, and those options have, at least one of them has already been taken up.
I was going to ask you about that. Does that mean at least scoping out the possibility of more Super Hornets?
Well, that's of course for defence ministers rather than ambassadors to say, but he has always, Mr Smith has always made clear that he keeps options open in terms of addressing air capability gaps.
When are you expecting to know more about the direction of cuts or delays in the F-35?
Well, we get information on that all the time, and the information ebbs and flows. Sometimes that information has been, look, the costs are increasing, delays are taking place, which was very much the story, frankly, until about 4 or 5 months ago. Now the story is a bit different, and the story that is being told by the President and Defence Minister now is not so much a story about, well, gee, this thing's being delayed and we're going to find it harder and harder. It's really about, well, what role is it going to play in the future of the force structure that we're now discussing, and what will that have as terms of meaning for numbers? So I don't expect that out of this will emerge delays to a successful conclusion of the project, but it may have an impact on the cost structure. The impact on delivery, paradoxically, will probably be quite useful.